Good evening and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course I'm sitting down with the Techie with us, Techie Joe. Now let me give some warnings. We are in West Virginia. West Virginia is having thunderstorms. They're not that great at handling them. So if we go off air, please understand it's because we have not had the most optimum service available.
Optional internet.
Exactly.
Yes. If you're not familiar, our area of West Virginia, our service provider used to be Suddenlink, or as we like to call it, Sudden Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And it was bought out by Altus and rebranded Optimum Internet.
Mm-hmm.
We've renamed it Optional Internet.
Right.
Because it seems optional
to
have service. So,
yes. All right. So we're going to be digging into a lot of psychic news that has hit the market. Let's start out with revisiting one of my old colleagues. Actually, her biopic.
Yes, Miss Cleo on Lifetime. So it's the original movie, Miss Cleo, Her Rise and Fall. Actually, no, this is a new one.
Oh, it is?
Yes, this doesn't premiere until August 10th.
I know, that's what I was saying, but I swore I've already watched this, but we'll see.
There's another one.
Okay.
I forget what that one's called.
There's been a few.
Max, formerly HBO Max, did Call Me Miss Cleo.
Right.
That dropped at the end of 2022. And that's actually a documentary.
Right.
Whereas Miss Cleo, Her Rise and Fall is apparently a movie about it.
Right.
So.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, I was disappointed in the Max one.
Yeah, you didn't like the Max version.
I did not like the Max version at all. So let me see here.
Quick recap. What is it you're hoping? What was the problem with the HBO Max?
They did not cover the company's bullshit.
Okay. Because I thought it was partially that, and part of it was also just the fact that, like, they kind of glossed over and sort of made it sound like this was all her fault.
Right. And
you know what I mean? Like,
it really
it's
wasn't.
like, oh my God, it so wasn't.
All right. So I think we're going to do something we've never done here before.
Okay. We're going to play a preview and commentate it.
Yeah, we're going to react to it.
Okay.
There we go. Go back over here. Add to screen.
Yep.
And
smack it.
Don't go blindly through life. Let me use the power of the tarot to show you the way. Call me now for your free reading.
Based on a true story.
Let's make some money.
This is Cleo.
You're our highest earner ever.
The sky is the limit.
No one could foresee.
Keep them on the
yes,
phone.
we could.
You got this. Tell me about your dreams.
That's
24
bullshit.
million a month.
You're mocking our Jamaican heritage.
You've been served.
You do not need a crystal ball to know that the FTC will stop deceptive trade practices.
She's ripping off millions of people. I'm paying my bills and taking care of my kids. I'm not hurting anyone.
Let us talk to the lawyers. These things blow over.
People put their trust in you, Miss Harris. Are you even a psychic?
Our name's in the lawsuit.
But it's my face.
Miss Cleo, her rise and fall. Premiere Saturday, August 10th at 8.
Good.
Only on
Showing
Lifetime.
some of the fucking shit that went down in the company.
Yeah, it sounds like it is. That it's going to
Okay.
actually... I mean, it may make the company look a little worse than it may have been. Not that I...
Oh, it could not.
Well, but what I mean is, I don't think any of this, like, of course, every business wants to make a crap ton of money, and that, you know, we exploit people to do that for businesses all the time. Like, we do the Doublemint twins, like, God knows. Like, we exploit, you know, healthy, young, vibrant people as spokesmodels for products. The problem with this one being is that it fell apart because they were presenting someone who wasn't a psychic.
Well,
as a psychic.
Right.
And then in order for any of this to function, basically had to become a psychic. Or at least know enough.
She learned and knew enough. I think that she did have maybe some innate abilities. However, the problem I see from this is there was no call centers.
Yeah, but I think that's probably one of those business secrets you don't want to, like, they don't want to get into.
Possibly.
It's because when it's, like, when you have, and I think we're going to see that happen a lot more with the future of movies trying to talk about companies that are based on home businesses.
Right.
Is the reality is we still think of business as a giant cube farm.
Right.
Which wasn't probably untrue for the business. It's just that was their customer service, not...
Right. And why they got some young-looking executive... Well, he's not an executive. He's probably portrayed as the owner. For a fat, middle-aged, bald, gay dude, I don't get. Like, they're trying to pretty up that scam artist better than anything.
You know, the closer you make it to reality, the more you get sued over.
Let them find them.
Well, even if the company's out of business, you have actual human beings attached to the company.
Right.
That, like, the closer you portray it to the truth,
right,
the more you get sued.
Right. I wonder if they're going to cover, I don't think they will, the fact that they instructed their operators to lie to their customers. They instructed their operators to do a lot of things that should have never happened. And when I say operators, I'm talking operators. Hello, I'll connect you now. Not psychics, not phone actors.
I mean, but it was a phenomenon. Like, that commercial hit. Everyone knew that commercial. Everyone knew that commercial. Like, you didn't even have to call the networks. You didn't have to be a psychic people, so to speak.
Right.
Like, household name.
Right.
Like, I really, truly don't think, I do not think another ad has hit as hard.
Oh, there is one other ad that has hit as hard.
Okay.
Set it and forget it.
That's an infomercial.
Right.
I call that slightly different. I mean, like, because the original ad was 30 flipping seconds.
Right.
And suddenly everyone knew who she was.
See, that ad was more than 30 seconds.
Well, but you know what I mean.
That ad was 22 minutes. Each of them were 22 minutes that were shot filmed.
Well, yeah, every ad's longer, or every ad on television ends up shorter than its original shot.
No. That ad was 22 minutes long. It was a half-hour show.
Oh, that's right. Well, I'm sorry. So at the point though, when it became just a 30-second commercial, like that's literally one time. I swear everyone knew who she was.
Right. I also wonder if they're going to show the search warrants that were served.
Well, and we also have to take from this, like they're showing the office and the cube farm and all of this, and you may have jumped the gun on that. Is that they may end up actually showing the reality.
Right.
But like this is at a later point in the movie when the company has gotten massive and had to hire a customer service team from hell.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean, because the company did really well.
$2.9 billion in 1996 was the last report. In revenue.
Let's see. Sorry, there's also I was just looking through the notes on Wikipedia.
Okay.
Like, there's so much to go there. And then there's the lawsuits for her person.
Well, yeah, because she signed her name away. This is so important. If you are a psychic out there in the range of my voice, never, ever, ever sign an exclusive contract and give your name away for any amount of money.
Don't do that. Please don't do that. Oh, wow. But, like, this is wild. So there's a whole Wikipedia entry just for her. There is nothing for Psychic Readers Network.
That's because you should need to be looking for PRN, PFN, Psychic Friends Network.
No, she was hired by Psychic Readers Network to compete with Psychic Friends Network.
No.
Okay, well, there's a Wikipedia problem.
Yes.
Sorry, power control is not supported yet.
What do you say? But anyhow.
Yeah. But anyhow, like there's so much, like I really love the Virginia stories getting told. What I would rather see is the story of the business owners and the shitty things that they done, executed, and happened. That's what I would love to be fucking told. And the games that we had to play, call your phone company and change your phone number, you've killed your extension. I can only hire you back if you give me another one.
Yeah.
You know, all these things that used to be told, all these things that used to occur. Managers being screamed at to get on the phone and demand and get every fucking reader on the line because we just hit tilt. And literally old days, picking up your landline, dialing, get up, get on the line, get up, get on the line, over and over and over and over again.
Well, and again, with a network that, like, again, it was an ad that really hit people.
Right.
Like the secret sauce on that one, good luck ever figuring it out entirely.
Oh, I know. Sauce.
Okay. Well, but what I'm talking about, though, is just the demand it had to have created.
Right.
And I think there was an initial thought of, well, we'll get some phone calls off that. And then it was, you're inundated. The system is flooded.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. All hands on deck, all hands on deck.
Yeah.
Like,
And 30,
never
40 in queue for every. We could not process calls fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that ad hit, nobody could. We demanded after it left the East Coast, because it would air East Coast, West Coast. After it hit the East Coast,
mm-hmm.
when it hit West Coast, like there was a time that literally every reader was 33 to 55 people queued back.
Like you would no more than start to clear the queue and then bam.
We didn't clear that queue for a day, for at least 19 hours. Like people freak at the times I pull now. Please, honey. Be back in 94 here. We would rock the fucking boat. And this is back when everything was hardwired, hardline, dial-up, multiple computers on dial-up. Like at one time, this house had 5 phone lines in it, and 4 of them were for internet.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
It would be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it was a good ad. Like, I don't mean it was a good company. I don't mean it was an ad that should have been made or an ad that was honest or anything. Like, when I call it a good ad, that comes with a lot of caveats. Like, there's big asterisks after it.
Right.
It was an effective good.
Well,
it was a super effective ad.
Okay. I have to make some clarifying statements. One, I am not talking about the company itself. I legally can no longer, I'm not supposed to talk about, well, hell, it's been long enough. Two, it was it was an amazing damn ad. It was a wonderful fucking commercial. I wish the other 4 that were designed, built, had been released. They were not. I think that what the owners did was fucking ridiculous. Criminal to the point that there should be a new charge for it. I don't care. Those men should be penniless, not billionaires. I think that what they did to Virginia, monstrous. And I do mean monstrous. And the many other people they done this to.
So Shannon asks, did your local phone or internet provider ever ask what the fuck you were doing to need that many lines?
No.
You know, that's kind of the weirdo part of like the mid-90s. Honestly, no one was going to ask questions.
Right.
Because this was also at an age in which it really wasn't that insane. Like maybe the installer might have been looking around going, whatever, man.
Right.
But you would have like mom and dad have a phone line. There's a fax line. There's a dial-up internet line. Like it was all explainable if someone, you know what I mean? Like if you had to cover it up.
Right.
Like it made sense. You would probably have to, in this size of a house, get up to like double-digit phone lines before someone's going to look at you and be like, "What are you doing?"
The only question I ever had, they ever asked me was, "How? Where do you want me to put the next receiver?
Where do you want it?
Because where do you want it?
Where do you want it?"
Yeah.
Because again, this was a really weird time.
Mm-hmm.
for, like for phone services and how like consumers interacted with phone lines.
Right.
Like you would have mom and dad have a line, like there's a house line, there's, like if you got teenagers, well, we need a second line. You got a computer, you need another line. Maybe there's a business line. Maybe there's, because like I remember my sister having multiple phone lines.
Mm-hmm.
And no one batted an eyelash. Like it was like, well, yeah. You have a business line and a personal line and a fax line and a line for the internet.
Mm-hmm.
4 lines. Psh, no one's paying attention. 5 lines. I guess both you work from home or something. Oh no.
Yeah.
Like, and there's lots of businesses.
Right.
Like there were legitimate, and not saying this was illegitimate. Like I don't want to necessarily go there off the top.
Right.
But lots of legitimate people with legitimate businesses or working from home.
Right.
Actually needed multiple phone lines for like, it was legit. Like they weren't doing anything that wasn't above board. Like you don't know how long work from home, like reception has been going on. Like soft phones were the like biggest thing to ever hit.
Those weren't allowed on the networks till 2010, literally.
Well, what I'm saying is like the number of like customer services and all those kinds of businesses, appointment setting, customer service, returns, escalations, whatever. So much of that was, even in the 90s, was a work from home gig.
Yeah.
And you could be one person, and if that's what you chose to do,
right,
you could be, sitting there having to look carefully at what phone line it is you're about to pick up, because you could be answering for a hospital, a doctor's office, a lawyer's office, or whatever.
Right.
You had to pay attention to what phone you were grabbing. And there were people who did it.
Yeah. And the old office, that one in our bedroom was my office. At the top. Like that's the reason it's built the way it's built. And the boxes were there up until we painted the house.
But no, I think the only thing you were ever probably in the 90s gonna get some strange looks, reactions, or issues with is if you actually needed a T1 line.
You couldn't get it here.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Well, West Virginia is its own issue. I'm saying in general, if you needed trunk access, that's going to raise eyebrows, because that's an immediate moment for the 90s of what are you doing? Because that's an abnormal service level for any home user.
Right. Exactly. And I remember writing checks. Yes. For those that don't remember, you had to write a check for your phone bill. $2,000. Here you go. Did not care.
So Shannon says we had 3, one for internet, one for fax, and one for business house. And they were just like, why do you have so many lines? Because we have a business. Mind yours. When my mom made me mad, I'd wait until she was really involved in a game she was playing and then pick up the phone and pretend like I didn't know she was playing a game online. She refused to get a second line for her house.
But yeah, I hope they show more of the business practices, because if I'll be point blank, if they had ran that company honestly, the amount of money, and this is back in the days when we paid readers 22 cents a minute. If they hit bonus, it was 30 cents a minute. The amount of money that company could have made,
and would still be in business.
And would still be in business.
Well, and some of that comes into the business itself and what they actually intended to do.
Right.
Like, and it sounds like most of that was they saw an opportunity, which yay for that. That's always good. This is an upcoming field. This is a thing that you can make money at. People want this. But they didn't really go into it with anything other than we're going to make money.
Right.
Like there wasn't anything in place for them to do something other than make money.
Right.
And so they did it well in the sense that they were very effective.
Right.
They did it well.
Right.
But none of the rest of the underpinning of a good business was there. Like I don't think there ever was an intent to be ethical. I don't think there was ever an intent to like legitimately grow this in a sustainable way.
Right.
It was pretty much a get rich quick that worked.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. Shannon says I'm all for making money, but I also believe in paying people fairly. My grandpa and I agree on that front. I'd have to ask him if I was offering too much for what he needed because I was a bit too nice on that front because I didn't want to have to worker hunt again for a while. No, I get it.
Right.
Like I'm always about, make your money fairly. Don't exploit people. Like I have a client right now, and it was the funniest email the other day to me. In which he would basically like show your cards was like, well, I expect an invoice of an amount.
Right.
And I'm just laughing at it because I'm like, I'm not going to charge you anywhere near that.
Right.
Like that's adorable.
Right.
I'm glad I have a big budget to work against. But if you get to the point in which at my hourly rate, we have busted that budget, we have failed.
Right.
We failed you.
Exactly. But looking at, and this is why like I get very bitchy. Like, our patrons know what has gone on. I get very bitchy when I smell even a hint of bullshit. Like driving near the cow field of bullshit, I go astronomically off the chart because that's never happening again. So moving on to the next one.
Yes.
There's a scientist up to something.
Yeah. So HuffPost has, as a scientist, I didn't believe in psychic powers. Then I experienced something that changed my life. The subtitle on this one is I wasn't open to experiences and possibilities outside the realm of what was considered normal, but that was all about to change. So all right, I will let you do the sum up. You were pointing out this one's really long.
It is very long. It's Huffington Post. I enjoy their writings. So the scientist really was like, and it's mostly a psychologist researcher. It's like my psychological training was shaped by the principal view, a way of viewing the world in a ecstatic logical range approach to that only one with valid beliefs in the paranormal while associating immaturely in best and psychopathical at worst consciousness were to arise from the neutron connection with the brain. When we stop breathing, the brain ceases to function, consciousness is lost, and the body decays. Then there is no God. Okay, there is no ghost, nothing real unless science can prove it. And I was no longer open to experiences or possibilities outside the realm of what was considered normal, but that was all about to change. And I love that cliffhanger. In 2023, while working at the University of Missouri, something happened that reinitiated my interest in the paranormal and changed my life forever. Just before graduating and moving away, one of my research assistants announced that he wanted to tell me about his mother. He seemed nervous and cautious, and I absolutely had no idea what was coming next. Why is he acting so weird? I felt like he was getting ready to tell me some bad news, and I was bracing myself. He proceeded to tell me a long and cantankerous story, much like your writing, sir, about his mother. Apparently, Janet began spontaneously speaking South African tribal languages after participating in a horological brain work session. What a reflex. No bad news after all. Wait, what? Spontaneously speaking South African tribal languages? Can I see why he would be cautious in sharing this news? It sounded ridiculous. After the breathwork session where languages emerged, Janet claims she learned how to access the ability to simply shift her awareness. Of course, at this point, she wasn't even certain that what she was speaking was a language, felt and sounded like a language, but nobody seemed to recognize it. Is it possible she was making it up? Sounds that gives away an approach to language. Perhaps she was speaking in tongues. In an attempt to understand what was really happening, Janet recorded herself during these language experiments and sent the tape to a professor and a researcher from all over the United States. Many of the experts were polite. They had no idea what was happening. After 4 years of searching, Janet eventually found someone that could help. The late Dr. Bruno Russian, an audiotherapist of the Solian Institute, and a shaman, was originally from the Ujavante tribe of northern Brazil, where he was known as. Recognizing that Janet's recordings indicated that she was speaking a South African tribal language, and that confirmed Janet was what she was looking for. So then they began studying her brainwaves and opening up particular experiments, and she allowed the languages to come through. One of the first things I noticed was a significant change in EEG signals coming from the sensory receptors located in the back right quarter of the brain. Instead of the normal, nice, neat pattern we expected to see, these signals just jumped off the screen and almost looked as if seizure activity was occurring. After double and triple checking my equipment and finding that some changes actually on several chests occurred, I had to accept that something dramatic was happening in Janet's brain. Now we're seeing this more and more. We're seeing scientists catching that no, when a psychic is in reading and goes into alpha waves, there's a direct change in the brain fluctuation. And he continued to go into and study this, and he's starting to collect data on this. That the psychic's brains functions differently and how to maximize, and they're trying to figure out how to unlock those centers. They're seeing centers of the brain that normally only act on a beta level, meaning they're not, if you have this big pretty brain and everything's orange and red and there's some blue spaces, the psychic areas are the blue spaces. And suddenly when doing readings, when doing chats, when doing translations, when channeling, when accessing foreign languages, when accessing healing skills, those blue areas suddenly become red. So scientists are proving that, and are starting to find evidence that there is a change in brain pattern. I think this is quite interesting.
I mean, definitely. Because it kind of starts to, blur that line between, okay, something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Between, like this is all made up and this is totally real. This is that blurring moment where you at least have to admit, well, something's going on.
Right.
Like you don't see this as normal brain activity.
Right.
This isn't, if you pull some random person off the street who does not have any abilities, you're not going to see this light up. Like it's not going to light up. Mostly. randomly you might find one person that you put in the machine that has a seizure,
right,
and this area lights up. But you're not going to just find like again, that's like a lightning strike.
Yeah.
It's not going to be an actual like ability. It's going to be, you're going to be seeing lots of numbers that are abnormal.
Right.
And then you need to grab a spoon or a wallet. Because someone's about to bite down on their tongue.
Right.
Just saying. But no, I think that definitely begins to blur the line that there's something else here. Yeah. And that from there, once you can understand what it is, it may make it actually easier to either stimulate it in others, to begin to understand like some of the effects that like brain activity in those areas of the brain at that level might be having on the body. So starts to draw into the connection like you have already found between, isn't it weird? In a room full of mediums, every single one of them has this problem or something very adjacent. Or in a room full of tarot readers, isn't it strange?
Yeah.
All of them have.
Right. Isn't it interesting that all of them have these things occurring, these things working, these things trying to work out? So it's nice scientists are catching up to my theory. Now, he does have a book out. I'm going to see if I can contact his publicist and get an interview. I think that would be amazing to sit and talk about this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be a very awesome author interview.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, that sounds like a really fun book.
It is. I'll be ordering it.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yep. All right. In other psychic news.
Oh, yeah. So psychic surgery in Boulder, hoax or hurrah, horror or holistic healing. Oh, someone had fun with that title. Oh, so here's a start to an article. Should Boulder MDs be trained in med school in the art of psychic surgery? My conclusion is that yes, this should be offered as an elective in medical school. I see no downside, while I see a vast array of possible benefits to treating physicians as well as to the patients. Why would I say something so possibly outlandish on its face? I'm glad you asked. Again, I do not suggest that this approach is a substitute for conventional medical treatments. I'm suggesting that as an adjunct to conventional medicine, the benefits far outweigh the risks to this layperson.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a conclusion.
It is. What's interesting with this is they're highly recommending this be part of medical training. Keep in mind, they're not giving medical advice, nor do I. We're not practicing medicine. I don't practice medicine. At most, I practice Reiki, which is a modality of energy healing. What they're advocating for is much less than what the clickbaity title says. The basic technique I am suggesting to be offered as an elective in medical school are built around methods which have been used for millions to facilitate healing. Am I talking about witch doctor medicine? Well, yeah, sort of. I'm sorry. I don't see it as witch doctor medicine. I'm not going to say go out and grab some leaves and some specific clay from a lake, some water from some specific place, and the innards of a bat and mix it up and make you drink it to get rid of your diabetes. Not my deal. visualization techniques have been seen great success. Coaches have used similar approaches to aid their athletes in achieving performances. I'm sure the same is true for medical staff itself. For example, I believe doctors will do better work if procedures, surgeries, and whatever is given a meditational practice before performing actual procedures. The positive outcomes could be much better if the doctor is using visualization, meditation, enforcement of, and involving the client in this, the patient in, I say client, they say patient, in this, of beginning like visualizations, meditational processes, teaching them about the meridian lines, teaching them about, what else are you advocating for here?
Well, yeah. I think they kind of sum it up, and it is very different than the title.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it gets into a larger, like, it's not just surgery. Yeah. It would be a very different approach to medicine than what we've seen in my lifetime. Because typically what's kind of happening is this inability, like it's getting lost in the weeds of numbers.
Right.
And trying to avoid bad outcomes by creating, fear and discomfort.
Right.
Around whatever the
right.
physician, medical practitioner identifies. And then thinking that if you make people feel bad enough, they will be motivated to change. And only then, once they've changed, will you actually stop, listen, pay attention, do your job.
Well, it's kind of like, and I don't know, I'm going to go with anxiety. If you went in for treatment of your anxiety and you're prescribed 30 minutes of Taekwondo a day, 2 cups of chamomile tea, 1 mid-afternoon and 1 at night, morning pages of 3 pages a day, and exercise 3 times a week, and a high vibrational food diet that is low in gluten and high in vitamin D. That's a much different prescription than what we're seeing for anxiety.
Well, it is. It's also, but from a medical perspective, if you see a therapist for your anxiety, and your therapist starts out with, well, there's no treatment for anxiety, there's really nothing we can do, you're never going to get better, all we can do is kind of teach you some coping skills to make it a little better for you.
Right.
That sets the bar of expectation for what you've got. So basically, I have, and this is totally a made up scenario, but if that's how you go in, that's what you tell the patient. The patient takes that in and goes, okay, well, this is basically a terminal condition. Like, I'm never going to get rid of it. I'm going to have this anxiety for the rest of my life. There's nothing that anyone can do. There's nothing that's going to make it better. It's never going to get better. Isn't it shocking if you tell people that and they believe that, and that's exactly what happens?
Right. Or you prescribe them medicine and you continue prescribing them medicine. I'm all for medicine for conditions you cannot control. And for use of, but teaching coping skill, teaching, like the number of people I have talked to with RA that was told 40s plan for a wheelchair. These things will occur in RA, and doctors even say, do not exercise, you will overuse your joints. Compared to my current plan and prognosis is much different.
Well, and in many ways, it's kind of this, quantity of life versus quality of life debate.
Right.
Which I mean, kind of, that's a little bit bass backwards.
Right.
But it's rooted in the same concept of like we're not actually dealing with people, we're just playing with numbers.
Right.
And so we're not treating patients, we're treating disorders and diseases and
right.
And it's like when you do that and all you look at is like this kind of SWOT analysis of, you know, what's the patient doing right? What's the patient doing wrong? What could the patient do better? And, you know, like that's your mindset and you're not engaging with a person. Like, what are your goals here, man? Like, how do we, in some instances, no, you're probably not going to take someone and like take them from the worst condition they could possibly be in.
Right.
And turn them into like a fitness model spokesperson who, you know, lives for 100 years. But that seems to be a lot of what medicine tries to do. Is like until you do that,
right,
you're not really going to engage with you. Like this is all your fault. You made all your own problems. This is your stupidity. Like this is a lot of how medicine works.
Right.
And it's kind of this moment of like, do y'all hear yourselves? Like,
well,
how is someone supposed to get better?
Do you actually see what's going on? Do you see where things are going? Do you see what you're doing? Do you see how that you can be doing this differently?
I just kind of always borrow back to the idea that, like, if you took a child and acted like this towards them, you'd be a monster.
Yeah.
But somehow when we do it to adults, we think it's okay, and it's like, no, I think you're still a monster. I mean, there's kind of like check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like sometimes incrementally better is better.
Right.
And more importantly, if someone gets incrementally better, they are like that one bite and one bite and one bite. You may very well get a totally different outcome. Again, is it going to be like this is a rock star level difference? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. But it's better.
Right.
It's better than it could have been. It's better than what you would normally do.
Right.
I think going in with that mindset, so kind of circling back to the article real quick, if you're going in with this mindset that you're not really doing surgery on a person, a whole people, and you're just dealing with, you know, doing surgery to remove cancer or doing surgery to fix a bowel or doing surgery for whatever, without investing yourself, at what point does this become robotic?
Right.
For you as a surgeon, I would think after a while, isn't this really annoying? Like,
well, I would think it's highly annoying.
How many cataract surgeries could you do before it's like, you know, push the button, pull the lever, push the button, pull the lever? It's a damn assembly line. Like, this is what you went to medical school for?
Right.
To on a very high end, very specialized scale, become a factory worker. That's how this works for you.
Right.
That sounds like garbage.
Right.
I would hate your job.
Very much so. You know, and that's what we've got to watch.
Because I would truthfully think if that's the level that like surgery got to for me, I don't think I'd have any positive thoughts or feelings about anyone I worked on. Like, I'd just be mad.
Well, and I think that's what we see out of doctors a lot today.
Very likely. I mean, it seems like a lot of the experience is just this angry frustration, like, And it's like, look, I'm not looking for miracles over here, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not looking for miracles. I'm also not looking to be like emotionally damaged going through an appointment.
Exactly.
You know, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's fair. But it's also why a lot of people quit seeing medical providers.
Yeah.
Is because it's like it's not worth it. Is it an emergency? Am I going to die in the next 5 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then I'll call 911 and go to the emergency room.
Right.
A routine appointment? Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Well, and that's because it becomes so adversarial.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I've gone toe to toe with doctors. I have no, and I repeat, no problem with telling doctors, you're an idiot, and here's why. They want to throw a diagnosis around. Wonderful. Let's start looking. Bring me the modern research.
How do we work that?
Yeah.
But it's also the reality, like, if all you do all day long is just, you know, look at the numbers, look at the lab results, look at the values,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't actually bother, because in like 5 minutes that you bill for 15, don't really have the opportunity to connect with a people,
Right.
then how are you making decisions other than this is just, you know, insert, thrust, repeat?
Right.
Just it's like you might as well be at the end of a cattle ramp,
Right.
with a sledgehammer.
Right.
It's the same job.
Right.
It really is. Like, just head. Like, that's it. That's all you're doing.
Right.
You know, like, here's your meds and go through the next, you know, gate.
Right. You know, and it's just over with.
Yeah. I'm over it. We do love our super doc. He is amazing.
Yes.
He has taken a lot of time with us and for us, and as I really honestly believe he does for all of his patients.
Right.
Like, I say that with sincerity.
Well, not only that, but like, I've sent him research because, you know, let's be honest, this is America. Our medical research sucks, especially how it's funded. I've sent him research and he went, okay, I'll review this. And, you know, next visit. So what do you think about doing X? Okay, we can do X.
Mm-hmm. We can try that.
Yeah.
We can play with that.
Yeah.
Like, and he is very much into the idea that incrementally better is better.
Yeah.
Like, it's not perfect. It's not everywhere we want to go and more.
Right.
Like, we can always do better.
Mm-hmm.
But incrementally better is incrementally better.
Right. You know, or, you know, I don't like X, Y, and Z. Can we do, I need, or, you know, like my pain medicine. I have flexibility in my pain medicine designed in the script.
Oh, yeah. Not only do you have flexibility in the script, but you also have, like, understanding, like, and it's not intent, like, none of this would be excessive. And none of it is like, oh, here's your heavy duty, knock you on your butt narcotic. Like, yeah. We're using, like, he's not doing that.
No, nowhere near
the irony, 55 medical practices in the state of West Virginia rejected you as a patient once they saw your medical records. Again, this is a perfect moment. They saw the data and went, oh, hell no. We won't touch him with a 10-foot pole, because their interpretation of that data is you're going to come in and the first thing, now granted, if you'd read far enough in the chart, you would have seen that, like, he hasn't been on pain meds, like, so to speak, legitimate pain meds. You know, you like Oxycontin and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and narco, whatever. None of that. And that was brief. And that was like, what, 15 years, 10 years at that moment.
Oh, at that moment, at least 15 years.
Yeah. And it's like, so, okay, if you'd read far enough in the charts, you would have seen at least 6 months back, he's not on anything.
Right.
Like, he is not on anything that you could, like, bottle up and, like, go onto a street corner and sell.
Right.
None of it. None of that. So your theory is broken.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the data, and that's who you think Aeson is.
Mm-hmm.
Because, joke's on you, he will probably punch you
Right.
if you try to put him on that crap. He doesn't want
Right.
it. It doesn't work for him. It doesn't work for the life he wants to live. None of this works out for him.
Right.
So we don't do that. Now, does it mean that as a physician, you're going to have to be a little more creative than, like, here's your lower tab, and, you know, see in 6 months or in whatever?
Right.
That's not going to work. We're going to have a very long conversation about, one, don't ever say those words to me again, and two, all right, now we have to figure out what's going to work, and it cannot knock me unconscious. It cannot make me incapable of driving. It cannot make me incapable of entering a contract. It has to allow me to work. It cannot, you know.
Yeah.
And we're going to find something.
Right.
Like different treatment, different modality, combine some things. Like we may need some acupuncture. Like we'll figure it out.
Right.
But 55 doctors looked at the data and went, oh, no, we won't. No, we're not accepting new patients at this time. No, ma'am.
Or no, I won't treat him. I was point blank said a number of times, I won't treat him because he has 7 herniated discs that he refuses surgery for. You know, he has RA that he refuses to do biologicals for. Yeah, and if they had read probably
far enough to find out why.
Yeah.
Which is like on the back surgery, and we're slightly divided on this one. I understand it. Like there is a mindset that the more you fuck with someone's back, the worse it gets.
Right.
Like it does. There are many people that their outcome is not an improvement, but their back is more stable, even though they're still in pain and they lose quality of life. Their back is technically more stable. And that's kind of where you're at, is like, I don't want to give up things that I enjoy doing just to stabilize and kind of vegetate.
Exactly. And you know, and to update, when they have they have a surgery that I'm willing to undergo, and it's the recovery rate is literally a week. That it's an outpatient surgery, local anesthetic, like, but that's not been approved for insurance use. I won't do it until
it's not a primary surgery. It's not the preferred method to approach it. You're talking about the disc replacement versus the fusions.
No, I'm talking about the laser sealant.
Oh yeah, even better.
Yeah,
that's the newest of new.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I would I would do the artificial disc at this point and be okay. But if you're going to talk about like bracketing me up and doing metal rods, I'm sorry, I know too many people that well, yeah, their back's more stable, but their quality of life is garbage.
Exactly.
Like they have had to give up so much just for stability, and pain improvement is questionable.
Well,
again, not medical advice.
Not medical advice. But see, that's the thing. What works for my body? Like, you give me a handful of lower tabs, I'll go to sleep. I won't get out of pain. You give me a very low dose muscle relaxer. Not a high dose, a low dose muscle relaxer, a low dose anti-inflammatory, and I have a high vibe, high iron, high B12, vitamin D diet, and exercise for at least four times a week, and relaxation therapy, and either cold shower, or soaking, and my trajectory is perfect.
Like it works better.
Mm-hmm.
Is it perfect? No. Is it fallible? Yes.
Yeah.
But it can sometimes be a trade-off.
Mm-hmm.
That yeah, you can still do most of the things you want to do at much more than you would be able to do if they went in, bracketed, and locked everything in place. But it also means that you can still do that and hurt yourself, and then you have to go, oh, we're taking a break.
Yeah.
And that may be a very long break, and a very painful break, and a very uncomfortable break. But it's still doable, and it's like, okay, reset, learn the lesson, don't do that again. There's a limit. Not the same one you would have if it were okay, everything's welded together.
Right.
Which is, you can't do that, period. End of discussion. You do not bend like that. You can't do that. You can't do that in any version. Which, that's kind of where we get to with quality versus quantity.
Right. And I'm taking quality over quantity. I'm taking, we treat, somatic nerve pain. We treat that type of thing. We don't go and knock me out. That is the hardest thing for a doctor to understand is I don't want to be sedated for any reason.
All right. Well, let me insert. Patricia has a question, but has not provided a date of birth. So we need month, day, and year.
Yes.
Especially since looking at the question, I'm like, you might. Yeah. We definitely need it.
I don't care. Lawyers always have to verify. Right. And yes, Patricia, I'll wait happily to take a look at that for you. But what was it? We were having continual ulcer problem because of the anti-inflammatories. I brought it up to him, and I'm like, I think we need to change inflammatory to this, and here's why, and here's the research on it. He's like, I haven't heard that before.
Yeah. So let's do it.
Yeah. He gave me a blood pressure medicine to treat my blood pressure. I suddenly felt my feet and went,
what?
What is this? I'm supposed to have diabetic neuropathy. I'm not supposed to be able to feel my feet.
Not at this point.
Yeah.
Well, technically, it is a blood pressure medication with anti-inflammatory properties. That apparently works better, or at least in the area in which his actual inflammation problem is, than the typical anti-inflammatories you would give someone for this condition. And it's like, that's a riot. Yeah, it's kind of a moment with your medications. This is what you write it for. This is what you'll find in a book. If you say, hey, her, or hey, him, the lovely electronic assistants that are on our desks and our side tables and all that, and go, what's this for? It has a definition that you'll get.
Right.
Nowhere in that is what most of your meds are actually doing for you. Do you have one? You have one that actually is used for its actual purpose.
No. I'm bringing up an example.
Oh, okay. Oh, do I have to say it?
Yes. All right.
Alrighty. What we got?
Coming to you in in green.
Okay. Propranolol is used alone or in combination with other medications to treat high blood pressure. Hello, propranolol.
Love our propranolol.
Also treats types of tremor and hypertrophic subaortic stenosis.
Mm-hmm.
What is he using it for?
Tremors. Muscle spasms.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But you ask, plug it in, and the first thing that comes up is this treats his high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets fun trying, I'm scared to death of the day that we ever have to call 911 and I have to grab his meds and start explaining to some poor, unfortunate ER nurse.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he takes. This is what it's for.
Right.
I know that's not what the system says. I know that's not what the system says.
Yeah. Patricia, honey, I know you're from Australia. I need your birth date.
Mm-hmm.
From
Australia.
Yeah.
From the U.S. West Virginia, actually.
No. Well, and that's just one of them. Another one is where is it?
Oh, wait for the private. Because this is the more fun, is he can't pronounce half of his meds.
No.
Oh, which is hilarious. Oh, wonderful, Patricia. We will work on that in just a second. Let's once we get this conversation. So thank you for your date of birth. We'll get to you in just a minute. Oh, cetirizine is used to temporarily relieve the symptoms of hay fever. Not what he's using.
Nope. I'm using it for
I have to be careful. He has several meds that are very close in name. Oh, well, you're using it as an antihistamine.
Yep.
Which technically would be related to hay fever, but that's not exactly it.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. Shannon points out Paxil is an antidepressant they will give out in 10 milligrams or less to help a woman with hot flashes. Yeah. Do you know why it's less than 10 milligrams? Paxil is, and I'm not saying this for everyone, but when it goes bad for someone, it goes real bad for people.
Right.
So that, I believe, is less than the therapeutic dose for mental health.
Right.
That you would typically get. So it's really low dose Paxil. I remember the 90s when Paxil hit the market and the number of people
Right.
that it reacted badly in, because again, when it goes bad,
Mm-hmm.
like you either, like, it treats what it's supposed to treat and everything goes great, or holy crap,
Right.
the disinhibition, like gambling, drinking, sex, drugs, leave your husband, like, woo! Paxil can do some shit. Like it, and that's again, it's not that you should be afraid of it.
No.
Because now we know better. You're definitely going to get monitored if you start Paxil today. But back in the 90s when it came out, it was just like they gave it out like Skittles.
Right.
And like the number of people who like, and there's no nice way to say it, shit fucked their life. Just absolutely blew it up. Because they were like, no one was prepared. No one knew what was going to happen. Did not know that this was the med. And thought it was actually worsening of the condition it was treating. Oh yeah, it was like,
Right. But no.
Shannon, I love it. I started having hot flashes and not being able to sleep, so they were like, would you be open to trying this? And I was just, so long as there's no needles, yes. Yeah, Brenda's pointing out mom got it for her hot flashes as well. Yeah, no. Friend of mine's mother got it for her bipolar disorder. Again, 90s, they'll just throw that shit around like Skittles. And they did. And ooh, she was having some issues managing her bipolar before they changed her to Paxil. She went into the worst manic episode of her adult life. She only thought her bipolar disorder was a problem before.
Right.
Like, they put her on Paxil and woo, that was like a 10x magnifier for it. Like,
right.
It about cost her everything, and that was within a couple of months.
Right.
Like, she was about to get fired from her job. Like, she was cheating on her husband. She was like, the list went on and on and on. It was a scary time to be around her. And then come to find out it was the meds. And like, she thankfully, again, the 90s, I swear to God, you could have a mental health disorder or condition, and be in treatment, and you may not see a provider for months. Back then. It's a little better now. I'll give them credit. It's a little better now, especially for med change. But like, no, she went months before she went back to her provider, and the provider knew immediately something's wrong.
Right.
And so, yeah, there were phone calls made, and like, okay, we're going to stop taking that. You just knew.
Right. All right. Since we went into some detail, and since I've got this pulled up.
Oh, you're just going to check them all.
Well, no, I'm giving, because I know that we have a few other people that are battling the poisons.
Well, all medications are poison used to treat a condition in a specific dose. Oh. So, yeah.
There it is.
All right. So, ready to start on that one?
In a minute.
Okay. All right.
Okay, shoot for that. Because that's the combo I was talking about.
Oh, the tizanidine and diclofenac sodium?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, so the tizanidine is used to help relax certain muscles in your body, relieving spasms, cramping, and tightness. And then diclofenac sodium is for relief in signs and symptoms of osteoarthritis and symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis, as well as acute long-term use in the relief and signs of ankylosing spondylitis.
Right. So that's where those are the two medicines that I say I have flexibility on. I can choose to take none, 4 or 8 milligrams of the tizanidine. Dico, I can take, I think it's 500s once or twice a day, or I have cream that I can trigger shoot. Like if I'm having a severe L4 or 5, we can trigger shoot and like done.
Right there.
Yeah.
Just put it right there.
Exactly. Yeah. But, other doctors will look at mine and go, oh, you need much more than that. And it's like, no, I don't.
No. Well, and then we had fun with the diclofenac. I can't take it.
No.
He had so much, positive effect with it that, like, with my neck issues, we were like, well, let's start there and see how that works.
Right.
Because again, a lot of this is co-related. I can't take it. Like, I'm apparently a prescription baby.
Mm-hmm.
It knocks me out.
Mm-hmm.
And I know someone's great grandmother at 90 some years old is like, suck it up, you snowflake wimp. I take 3 of those to get out of bed. More power to you, ma'am. More power to you. It will knock me unconscious.
Yeah.
So all I have is the cream. All right. So Patricia, it is your turn now. So Patricia, July 31st, 1963. Hello, I'm struggling to pick which university course, entry level. Can you guide me, please? Certificate or diploma, subjects to choose, either community services, dementia, or sustainable development. Also, love that.
Very much love that. What I'm looking at here is we want to go diploma. And I'm looking at community services / dementia. I think you need to do those jointly. Sustainable development does not have the same prognosis, and it pulled up the moon card here. So with that suggests to me that is going to be either you go into it, you lose interest quickly, or it's going to be an uphill battle for you. Whereas when we look at if we look at the dementia community service, we have you beginning a new path, finding your goals, and collecting your coins.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So that's the direction I would go with that. I think that you took on a life path of humanities. And with that, I think you'll have great success. Okay. Awesome. Thank you for your question. And yes, I'll always take questions during readings. All right, so let's move into our favorite topic, since we've done a lot of talking of drugs.
We did.
Are you the asshole?
All right. Am I the asshole for letting my daughter be hungry and not ordering for her at a fast food place? My daughter is 15 and she has social anxiety. She is in counseling for it and not on meds, not needed. The rule in our household is that if you want fast food when we are out, you pay for it with your own money. If you don't have McDonald's money, you aren't going there. I also don't allow eating in the car, so we stop at places to eat. We had to go out and do some errands. I told her to grab something to eat before we headed out, but she said she wasn't hungry. We go on our errands, and halfway through, she wants to stop by Wendy's. I pull in and tell her to go order, and I will get a seat. She comes back a few minutes later and tells me she can't order. She doesn't want to talk to the cashier at the front of the store. I told her she needs to order and we will head out. She asked me to order and I told her no. We sat for about 10 minutes when I tell her it's time to go. She, in short, is pissed, and my wife is also upset I didn't order for her, that I let her go hungry. I find this stupid. I didn't starve her for days. It was a 4-hour outing. Am I the asshole? Edit, for those asking, yes, her counselor has told us that she needs to start doing this stuff on her own. This is low risk. She literally gave the example of ordering food without our help. I also ran through a script with her at the table, but she wouldn't do it.
Not the asshole.
I'm going to go with not the asshole, but I think the approach here, like, I'm with the therapist. I think this should have been a low-risk activity that she needed to be pushed on. Yeah. I don't think as parents, either you're involved enough to really have, like, the ability to walk her through this. Not do it for her, but like find a way to get her through this.
Right.
You know, that it may have to be smaller baby steps.
Right. Furthermore, why isn't she using the app?
Or a touch screen. Oh, wait, Wendy's doesn't have touch screens yet, do they? I don't know. I haven't been inside of Wendy's since before the pandemic.
No, they don't have touch screens. All right. So Shannon lives with this experience.
So she says, I am a mother of kids with anxiety issues. It was low risk. She could order her own, and a consequence of not was waiting till she got home. I'm sitting here going, I don't think you're the asshole. I'm just wondering, is there a way to have intervened, and do you need to talk to her therapist about that? I still don't think it makes you the asshole. I just feel like
I think it should be brought to the therapist's attention
that she's not getting here.
Right.
How do we bridge this gap first, and then once we get her there, how do we move?
Why didn't she? She is 15. I'm thinking of our younger ones. They would look at us and go, we'll just order on the app. It'll be ready by the time we get there.
You kind of expect the 15-year-old to have the tech solution for it.
Yeah.
But there's no telling what all else is involved in this.
Right.
But I know that, I don't want to out anyone, but, we have dealt with family members that have social anxiety in this very situation. I will admit, I'm going to throw you off the deep end. Don't start looking at me. And I've flat called it in public before and been like, don't tell me, tell the person with the keypad.
Right.
Your voice is as good as mine. This is your choice, not mine.
Right.
You don't want to play a game of telephone with me. I will fuck this up, mostly intentionally, just so you suffer.
Right.
Because I'm an asshole in public. I will do this shit to you.
Right.
I maybe too much for me, but
yeah.
I will.
Right.
Do not do that to me. I am
Right.
not sure. No, I will screw this up. It's the same as if we're in the car, you will eternally from the passenger seat become the primary voice of ordering.
Yes.
And it annoys me to no end. It's why I want to pull in and you go in. Just you deal with it. Because you start trying to tell them.
Right.
And or you try to talk it through me, but then they're not listening. I'm not getting back to them fast enough, whatever. And then you just screw this. I'm screaming through the window and it's no. this never works out.
Well, it never works out in drive-through for ordering food for me anyhow. I go in, I do the kiosk, boom, 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 I'm done.
Yes.
I get the food I want.
You pull up the app, you hit all the buttons, you make all the changes, you get what you want.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Shannon says, yeah. So Shannon goes on to say it's not like she had been days without eating because she was at a friend's house and afraid of asking for something or saying she didn't like something. She had access to food at home. She went out, she could eat and order her own or wait till she got home. My youngest has issues ordering from waiters, but she's fine at a counter. So I'll just have her look at me and say what she wants at a sit-down place with waiters, then look at the waiter and go, "You got that?"
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like this is an issue that's common, but at the same time, this child isn't trying.
And right now, she's not there. And I'm wondering, is it just going to have to be you're going to suffer till you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And not like horrible consequential suffering,
Right.
but like you're going to struggle with this until you just do the thing. Or if there is like a bite-sized way to like tease her towards it a little faster.
Right.
Which is kind of what Shannon's talking about, and that would be an intermediary.
Right.
Is don't look at them, look at me, and then you got that? Like that's it. That's all Dad would have had to have done, or OP would have had to have done in this situation is just go be the look at me, say what you want.
Right.
You got that? Cool. We're good. Everyone's happy.
Right.
Like, I think that would be a function, like, I think that's a great intermediary between the two. Between you're going to sit in the restaurant for 10 minutes and not get food, and is it where we want you to get to with your social anxiety as an endpoint? No, but it's incrementally better.
Right.
You did the thing, even if it was in direct eye contact.
Right. Exactly. All right. So the poll is up. Get the vote. Is Dad the asshole for not ordering food for his daughter while they were running errands and she had to wait 4 hours to eat? All right. So let's go into relationship advice. Now, this one's kind of already played out, but we're going to take it to the edit and then we'll just talk about the rest of it.
All right. Update. Well, there is an update. So my 36 male wife, 38 female, will not let me take a nap. She always wakes me up or does her best to prevent me from falling asleep. What can I do to understand? Hello, all. I work for an agricultural company where my weekly hours fluctuate between 60 and 120, while also working on getting a degree. My amazing bride is a homemaker by choice. All of this is okay. My issue comes from on occasion I am exhausted and will start to fall asleep or will purposely go try to take a nap. Our entire marriage, 11 years, she has woke me up or flat refused to let me fall asleep. I've tried talking to her numerous times and she is unable to articulate what the issue is. Today, I got off early after 10 straight 16-hour days. Took her on a lunch date, then came home and decided to take a quick nap before working on school. Within minutes of laying down, she has come into the room and has begun shaking me, turning on lights, and other obnoxious behavior. How can I articulate to her my need for an occasional nap, and how can I get her to articulate what her apparent unmet needs are so I do not go insane? Because it is at a point where I'm feeling disrespected and unappreciated. So the rest is the edit. So are we ready for that?
Go for the whole thing and then we'll break this down.
Okay. So, edit, thank all of you so much for the responses. I've tried to read all of them and reply. Was truly not expecting this kind of response over what I thought was a me not communicating clearly problem. It is clear there is more at play here, and I will be working with my therapist to develop 2 plans. One, much to many's dismay, to try and work with my bride one last time to address and fix the underlying issue, and 2, a way out for if plan 1 fails. Again, thank you all for the kind words, the pointed yet truthful words, and even for some of the more extreme suggestions. There truly are great people left on the planet. Update. The Monday after making the post, she picked a fight over the yard not being mowed. After telling her I was done with the way she was behaving, she refused to accept this and said she would never leave. Fast forward to Wednesday night, I come home late again to find 2 vehicles with trailers loaded with everything we owned, minus papers and her designer bags. When I walked in the house, she and her family left. Thankfully, the landlord had a couch that I could sleep on using my clothes as bedding because they took everything needed to live, including yanking the curtains and curtain rods off the wall. Thursday night, I came home and she was back. This time, she tried picking a fight by chasing me around the house and lunging at me. When I told her I would call the sheriff if she did not leave, she began twisting and hitting her forearm, screaming she was going to hurt herself and tell the sheriffs I hurt her. I left the house and called the sheriffs for help. They were able to provide me a way to leave as her family was on the way back. Since then, she has sent 2,000 text messages flipping between wanting to come back and me being the worst man alive. My attorney filed for a petition for divorce this past Friday. She will be served this week, and I am anticipating her to go postal. If anything happens, I'll let all you great folks know. Thank each and every one of you that commented on the original post. It was you who opened my eyes and helped me take the opportunity of her leaving to end this nightmare.
Okay.
Oh my God, that started so seemingly minor and fixable and just went places.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. Because I was even having a little sympathy for her.
Right.
I was like, did someone go to bed and die on her? Does she have trauma? What's going on? Because that's not a normal, most people can follow the bouncy ball. My husband works 120 hours a week. Probably going to be pretty damn tired when he gets home.
Right.
I cannot believe he even took her on a date before going to bed.
Right.
I mean, most people could reasonably make the connections.
Well, I dug deeper with this one, as I do all mine. This went even deeper than that. She was taking his paycheck. She was expecting him to clean the house and keep the exterior done.
So kind of a misnomer when he calls her a stay-at-home, how did he word it? A homemaker by choice? She ain't making home for shit.
No.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. She is she was using this man as a workhorse. She saw him being lazy to take a nap.
Mm-hmm. You could make me more money.
Well, not only that, but the lawn needs mowed, the car needs cleaned, this needs washed, that needs washed. Because we know, I am the title holder of the 120-hour weeks. Shit don't get done.
Yeah, no, it does. Not everything can happen.
Right.
And I think that's fair in most households, even for most people anymore.
Right.
It's it would be nice if we got all these things done this week.
Right.
And then other things come up and it's okay, we can flex that. We can flex this. All right. That was a little over optimistic. And okay, so we get there eventually.
Right.
We'll get there eventually.
Right.
It's not worth I appreciate a clean home. I think everyone it's a clean home, a clean living space, whatever it may be. But there also comes a point in which, does it have to 100% be every single day of the week without fail, regardless of anything else going on?
Exactly.
And more to the point, like, if someone's working 60 to 120 hours a week.
Yeah, at our agriculture. Meaning they're not, it's not an office job. He's out in the sun.
And, yeah. Like, and supposedly you're a homemaker?
Right.
Like, I mean, hire someone to cut the grass, man.
Right.
Like, why are you having this argument long ago?
Right.
Hire a neighbor. It doesn't even have to be pretty. Just cut the fucking grass.
Or she's got all day.
I mean, again, like, not everyone can do everything. There can be a million reasons, from allergies to bad backs and whatever. And I don't want to, as a legitimate reason. As long as you make arrangements around it.
Right.
You know, that's fine. You can be in charge. You can be responsible for the grass without actually having to cut it yourself.
Right.
That's reasonable.
Right.
What? 60 to 120 hours a week, and then you expect not only for him to not get a nap,
right,
but you want to pick a fight for the yard?
Yeah.
And the cooking and the cleaning and the this and the Come on.
You never help out around here.
Like, ugh. That's, I mean, and all this, she could still be living this life.
Right.
And all she had to let the man do was take a damn nap.
600K a year is what this man was making.
Ooh. I'm sorry. For 600K a year, just give me your money. I'm pretty sure I can let you take a nap. I will do everything possible to make sure you can take a nap. Like, I will walk my happy self out of the house. I have $600,000 a year. I can go shopping. I can take myself out. I can buy myself flowers
and designer bags.
Yeah, no. Like, all the man wanted was a nap. Here is $600,000. I don't care. Shut the fuck up. Let me go to sleep.
Right.
Literally where they were at. Literally.
Right.
11 years of marriage. All he wanted was a nap. All you had to do was just take yourself out.
Right.
While the man took a nap. And you got $600,000 a year to spend however you want to. Do whatever you want. He's too tired to care.
Right. Yeah, but no, apparently this was her tool to make sure that he took care of everything else. And these are clear signs of abuse.
Yeah.
Okay. These are the signs no one talks about.
Like, I was so ready, though, to be like, let's explore does she have trauma? I didn't even jump to the idea of like, oh no, this is full on abuse war.
Right.
Like, I wonder, like, I probably would have gotten there with a bunch of questions, but damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right.
Oh, talk about the straw that broke the camel's back.
Right.
Oh. And Shannon and I have to argue she was not a house lizard. She was a house manatee.
Right.
At that level of non-functioning, that's just like, Huh? That's it. That's all she does all day. Just huh?
Well, no, she went shopping. She bought designer bags, designer clothes, expensive, hard to clean furniture. Like, she spent his money. He's got almost $200,000 in debt, plus his student loans now.
Oh.
Yeah, but he isn't making enough to take care of her.
I mean, I understand. I can understand the concept of maybe not having the lifestyle to which you would like to become accustomed.
Right.
But damn, girl, how do you blow 600,000?
Yeah.
With a 200,000 negative.
Yeah.
And not let the man nap.
Right. Or sleep. Because apparently he had to go to sleep when she went to sleep. He's getting up at 4:30 in the morning. She might not go to bed till midnight.
Yeah, because she's got a whole day of shopping and waking up at noon.
And hanging out with the girls and getting coffee and all the other suborbitals shit.
Yeah, he wasn't even being hateful. Like, he was like, this is all fine. It's fine. My amazing bride.
Mm-hmm.
Literally said, my amazing bride is a homemaker by choice. No,
Right.
she ain't. No, she ain't. No. 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 You were too kind. No. No.
Yeah.
She a heifer.
Right. Well, not only is she a heifer, but she was working this man to death. Financially, emotionally, and yeah, sleep exhaustion, arguing, picking fights when he's just trying to go to sleep.
Yeah. Like, that is I don't think they make meds for her problem.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say. I don't think they make meds for that.
Right.
That is an extra level.
Right.
Like, that's just cruel.
Right.
Like, I don't think you fix that. Like, I don't think you fix that.
Right. Exactly.
God.
And some of the things she done, honey, I love you, but you would be in my backyard.
I mean, can I keep you awake till you make like 200K? Like, I'll let you nap all you want now after you make 200K.
No.
All right. Oh, what sort of life insurance did he have? Could have been
That
on
would
her.
be a good question. But, these are subtle signs that people think, oh, they just don't like me napping. Oh, they just want to spend more time with me. Oh, isn't it so romantic that we go to bed at the same time and we wake up at the same time?
Well, I mean, like, even I'll say on this one, like, I can play devil's advocate on some things, but I think at a certain point you have to. And 11 years.
Yeah.
11 years.
Mm-hmm.
Long time to not be able to get a nap.
Right.
Just a nap. Nothing nothing crazy.
Right.
Like, it's not no phone call, no show, don't know where he at, could be anywhere, night away from home.
Mm-hmm.
The man wants to go to your bedroom and take a nap.
Exactly. But that's neglecting her.
Oh.
Yeah. The yard needs mowed. Dinner needs to be bought. She wants to go eat. He worked.
I feel like this is an episode of Snapped barely avoided. And I don't mean because she could have lost it and killed him.
Right.
I think at this point, after 11 years, I don't know how much more he could have taken before, like, crack.
Mm-hmm.
And just killed her.
Yeah.
And it would have, like, I don't think anyone could have, like, sent him to prison if they knew.
Right.
Like, how do you work 10 straight 16-hour days?
and then go on a lunch date.
And still have someone who's like, wake up. You got to do the yard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Like, maybe I'm a little screwed up, but I call that a justifiable homicide.
Well, that's debatable, especially about how much others sleep. That and and it's like taking on like the degree that he's trying to get to better himself, so he isn't sitting on one of those tractors for 16 hours a day.
Oh, true. My husband didn't get what, as Shannon says, my husband didn't get why I wanted Ed to sleep during the day when I worked nights. So I started waking him up and not letting him sleep, and he left me alone to sleep after that. Oh, why I wanted to sleep during the day when I worked nights. So I started waking him up and not letting him sleep, and he left me alone to sleep after that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's funny when it's the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's one of those moments. Like,
and
like,
see, I don't get that. I don't get that because I'm night shift, so I sleep in the mornings. But we have never had this issue. Like,
not
even
really.
in the early days. In the early days, I had to go, no, honey, you can do other things.
Yeah. Like, I tried to match up for a while, and it's like, I can't. I am a permanent day shifter. I could not night shift if I tried.
Right.
And, thankfully I do sleep through most everything. Like, it's a real intent to wake me up.
Mm-hmm. Like, I can run the vacuum, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't care. And I don't wake up happy anyway.
Right. Neither do I. So I am like, how did he not kill her?
He sounds like a really nice person.
Yeah.
11 years you have not gotten to take a nap. This woman is waking you up every time you try.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe he just never got to sleep enough to be like, I'm going to kill you.
He was probably too tired to go, I'm going to kill you.
Well,
and then she gets, what's even scarier is she got violent with him.
That's what I'm saying. Respectfully, ma'am, I don't think you have something that is treatable. Respectfully.
Right.
Respectfully.
Right.
I don't think this is a problem that you just go to therapy and take some pills and it gets better. I think this is a permanent problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know who you date or get in a relationship with in which this will not be a problem.
Right.
Like, self-made millionaire with a crack problem?
I don't know. Like I chose this because it's complicated. Because there's so many layers there. Normally we're used to women, and a lot of women speak this about trying to be a mom and a boss and a boss babe and trying to maintain a marriage and all this. And we, especially entrepreneurs go through this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I have said a million times, if I don't have the support of my household, I can't do the level of work I do. And people don't get that. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's go check and see if Joe's the asshole this week.
Woo-hoo.
No, you are not the asshole.
I feel vindicated. Kind of wish the poll might have had but I also think they need better support. Because I truthfully believe I think there's got to be a good strategy in between.
Right.
If OP ever happens to watch this, please try what Shannon has suggested. Right. I think that might be a good intermediary step. Like it's not where you want to be, but it's better than where you are.
See, and this is my question: if they were taught younger, because it seems to me like they have a very weird, we only eat McDonald's if you've got money to order McDonald's situation there. If they were exposed to it earlier, would this be the same behavior?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is one of those things that, like, I'm trying not to go out on a limb. Like, sorry, some of this sounds like you have someone that has a lot of overbearing structures.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, and you've sort of created your own social anxiety daughter.
Right.
Because everything is so strict.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no skills, like, and that is part of it. And like, I know we will all eternally hate forever the screaming, running, crazy mess of a child learning how to act in public.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. It sucks to be a kid. It sucks to be an adult. It sucks to be a parent. It sucks to be someone 3 tables over going, oh my God, please shut up. All of that sucks, but it is unfortunately the reality of we all have to learn.
Right.
Like how to act in public, how to interact in public.
Right.
Like there's just a lot going on with this one.
Right. You know, my question is about exposure. If the child was exposed to this sooner than later, would they have been in this situation? You know, if, you know, for me, taking and giving orders at a restaurant, that's nothing because I always done it.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be the same if, you know, children were exposed to it earlier? Would this child be in the same thing? And that's a big debate.
Mm-hmm. Well, in some kids, it's just who they are.
Right.
Like they're like, it just some kids, it's who they are.
Right.
I know with mom, like it helped having like Burger King literally in our backyard.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably like 9, maybe 10 the first time she handed me money and said, go get us dinner.
Right.
You know, like nothing complicated, nothing super out there, nothing great. She just didn't feel like going over there. Was her excuse. And like, here's money. It's right there. Like, you can't get kidnapped.
Right.
Like, you know, it would almost have literally been a failing of my own to have somehow magically been kidnapped, because it was the 80s, but to have been kidnapped or abducted or harmed between our house and the Burger King.
Sure.
Like, I would have had to have tried really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would have literally had to have made a sandwich board that said, looking for a van with free candy and or kittens.
Candy, you don't like kittens.
You know. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, let's rock on through.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Joan Owens, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcsbnetwork.com.
Yes. Good night, guys. We will see you Friday night at 9 p.m. Bye, y'all.
Bye.